Good morning, everyone. It is June 1st. We're now in Pride Month. So, yes, we got 1 month of this Pride Month nonsense. So, let's just hopefully this will fly fast. I'm just going to check around to make sure if I am live, which I need to put this here now in Rumble. I am now live on Kick. I'm waiting, and now I am live on Rumble. I hope everyone has been having a good day yesterday, because this is now today, June 1st. And yes, we're in a stressful time right now, and it's been very hard, and I hear you guys. I know everyone is very upset of what has happened to our president. He will still be our future president. He will still be in there, man. And we will be supporting him all the way. We will support this man all the way. Now, I left early out of the house to drive to work, and I was listening to D-Day Cobra's channel of what was going on with Trump, and I got this, and I'm gonna listen to it, and I listened to it and everything, but I want to put it on here, and I'm on Twitter right now because I've got my thing ready. But let's real quick. I'm gonna get myself on. I'm gonna go get myself in YouTube right now, and I'm going to find that video. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make it easy for myself. I'm gonna go under
we as Americans, we the people, have faith.
Let me mute this for a minute. That's Tulsi Gabbard. Okay, here we go.
I will get you. Give me some audio.
Millions and millions of people.
Guess we're going the right side then.
Hold a second.
Going
Just trying
right
to get
side.
this piece ready, Don't worry.
In many cases, I believe sick people.
All right. So we got that ready. We have that part ready. So here's what I'm going to do right here. I'm going to try to get this on here. Yes. So I'm going to put this to D-Day Cobra's channel. So I'm shouting out to D-Day Cobra, by the way, man, because, he's very spot on with his stuff, bro, but I really got to try, and I have been doing my very hardest to look for my own ways of looking for it, but for right now, and I like Jeremy, man. Jeremy does his job always, man. He always does his job. I love his channel, bro, and I'm not gonna do that, and I'm giving him the credit, bro, like I always will, man. Especially Benny Johnson. So let's listen to this right now, and then we will get underway with it. So here we go. Let's.
When you look at our country, what's happening, where millions and millions of people are flowing in from all parts of the world, not just South America, from Africa, from Asia, from the Middle East.
See?
And they're coming in from jails and prisons, and they're coming in from mental institutions and insane asylums. They're coming in from all over the world into our country. And we have a president and a group of fascists that don't want to do anything.
Yeah, if you notice,
because they could right now.
I'm wearing my Trump hat, baby.
But he's not. They're destroying our country.
If ever I'm going to be streaming these kind of things right here,
they're very much
I will be
against
wearing
saying
this.
these things.
Just to give you guys a heads up.
They want to raise your taxes by 4 times. They want to stop you from having cars with their ridiculous mandates that make it impossible for you to get a car or afford a car. would make it very possible for China to build all of our cars. It's a very serious problem that we have. We just went through one of many experiences where we had a conflicted judge, highly conflicted. There's never been a more conflicted judge. Now, I'm under a gag order, which nobody's ever been under. No presidential candidate's ever been under a gag order before. I'm under a gag order, nasty gag order, where I've had to pay thousands of dollars in penalties and fines and was threatened with jail. Think of it, I'm the leading candidate.
Come on.
I'm leading Biden by a lot, and I'm leading the Republicans to the point where that's over.
Dang it.
So I'm the leading person
Yeah, my
for president,
dang
and
YouTube's
I'm
a
under
little
a
off.
gag order by a man that can't put two sentences together, given by a court, and they are in total conjunction with the White House and the DOJ, just so you understand. This is all done by Biden and his people. Maybe his people more importantly. I don't know if Biden knows too much about it,
Come on.
because I don't know if he
YouTube.
knows about anything.
Really, man?
But he's nevertheless the president, so we have to use his name. And this is done by Washington, and nobody's ever seen anything like it.
I swear.
So we have a judge who's highly conflicted. You know what the confliction is. Nobody wants to write about it, and I'm not allowed to talk about it. If I do, he said, I get put in jail. So we'll play that game a little bit longer. We won't talk about it, but you're allowed to talk about it. I hope you do, because there's never been anybody so conflicted as this. As far as the trial itself, it was very unfair. We weren't allowed to use our election expert under any circumstances. You saw what happened to some of the witnesses that were on our side. They were literally crucified by this man who looks like an angel, but he's really a devil. He looks so nice and soft.
Yeah, he
People
is.
say, oh, he seems like such a nice man. No, unless you saw him in action. And you saw that with a certain witness that went through hell. And when we wanted to do things, he wouldn't let him.
Yeah.
Yeah, the audio's all jacked up.
Yeah, the
It was
audio.
rigged. It was a rigged trial. We wanted a venue change.
Yeah, I apologize for
We
this,
could
man,
have a
because
fair
the audio
trial.
in this thing
We
was
didn't
very
get it.
bad.
We wanted a judge
So,
change. We wanted a judge that
It
wasn't
did happen this
conflicted.
time, but I'm sure it's
And
gonna.
obviously
I'm
he
sure I
didn't
think
do
it was
that.
back to normal. So
There's nobody's ever seen anything like it. We had a DA who was a failed DA. Crime is rampant in New York, violent crime. That's what he's really supposed to be looking at. Crime is rampant in New York. Yesterday in McDonald's, you had a man hitting him up with machetes, a machete. Whoever can imagine even a machete being wielded in a store, in a place where they're eating, and he's going rampant, and Bragg is down watching a trial on what they call crimes. They're falsifying business records. That sounds so bad. To me, it sounds very bad. You know, it's only a misdemeanor, but to me, it sounds so bad. When they say falsifying business, that's a bad thing for me. I've never had that before. I'm falsifying. You know what falsifying business records is? In the first degree. They say falsifying business records. Sounds so good, right? It means that legal expense, I paid a lawyer, totally legal. I paid a lawyer a legal expense. And a bookkeeper, without any knowledge from me, correctly marked it down in the books. A very professional woman, highly respected, she testified. Marked it down in the books as a legal expense. So a legal expense, paid a lawyer, is a legal expense in the books. It's not sheetrock, construction, or any other thing. It's a legal expense. Think of that. This is what the falsification of business records were. And I said, what else are you going to call it? What else are you going to call it? Now, I would have testified. I wanted to testify. The theory is you never testify, because as soon as you testify, anybody, if it were George Washington, don't testify, because they'll get you on something that you said slightly wrong, and then they sue you for perjury. But I didn't care about that. I wanted to. But the judge allowed them to go into everything that I was ever involved in, not this case, everything that I was ever involved in, which is a first. In other words, you could go into every single thing that I ever did. Was he a bad boy here? Was he a bad boy there? And my lawyer said, what do you need to go through? And all you wanted to do is testify simply on this case. Because I would have loved to have testified. To this day, I would have liked to have testified. But you would have said something out of whack, like it was a beautiful sunny day and it was actually raining out. And I very much appreciate the big crowd of people outside. That's incredible what's happening. The level of support has been incredible. So the whole thing is, legal expense was marked down as legal expense. Think of it. This is the crime that I committed, that I'm supposed to go to jail for 187 years for. When you have violent crime all over this city at levels that nobody's ever seen before, where you have businesses leaving, and businesses are leaving because of this, because heads of businesses say,
Yeah,
man,
that's right.
we don't want to get involved with that. I could go through the books of any business person in this city, and
Yeah, Trump has said it already. I mean, with all this, with the Democrats abusing this power, and they have done it for so long, for so many years, Bo. They look what they did to get Donald Trump out of the picture, bro. To try to get him out of the picture. They went into the Mar-a-Lago. They've indicted the man 4 times. They gave him a mug shot. He had 3 different court cases. One in Florida. Well, yeah. One in Florida. One in Georgia. 2 in New York. It's insanity, bro. This was all just an interference, bro. A witch hunt. An election interference. That's all it was. And ever since people have been waking up and seeing this, bro, people have been getting out of New York, you know, and if I were, like I said before when I posted myself in Twitter, if I were the people of New York, I wouldn't do no riots or anything dangerous over there. Me, I would just pack my stuff, close your business, take out your money, and leave. Go to a red state, bro. Just drive to a red state. Drive to Florida. Drive to Texas. Go to Texas. Go to any red state. And do your business there, man. Let New York crumble. Let that state crumble, man. New York will hurt. The Democrats will realize that they have made a big mistake, bro. They'll realize it. We'll continue.
And I could find things that in theory, I guess, let's indict him, let's destroy his life. But I'm out there, and I don't mind being out there because I'm doing something for this country, and I'm doing something for our Constitution. It's very important, far beyond me. And this can't be allowed to happen to other presidents. It should never be allowed to happen in the future. But this is far beyond me. This is bigger than Trump. This is bigger than me. This is bigger than my presidency. And the people understand it because I just see a poll just came out, the Daily Mail. That was the first one, came out.
Mm-hmm.
It was done last night right after the verdict, where I'm up 6 points. 6 points from what we already were. We were leading fairly substantially. We're up 6 points in the Daily Mail poll. Now, maybe other polls come out and says something differently. But a lot of people have predicted it because the public understands, and they understand what's going on. This is a scam. There's a rigged trial. It shouldn't have been in that venue. We shouldn't have had that judge. He should have allowed us to have an election expert. We had the best expert, most respected expert, head of the Federal Elections Commission. He was all set to testify. He was waiting for 2 days. And when it was his turn, Bragg's people protested. And the judge knocked him out, said you can't testify. He actually said you can't testify for anything having to do with the trial. You can say what the federal elections is. Well, that doesn't help. Everybody knows that. But you can't testify. So essentially, he wasn't able to testify. Other people weren't able to testify. But with these people, they were able to use people salacious. By the way, and nothing ever happened. There was no anything. Nothing ever happened that they know it. But they were as salacious as they could be, and it had nothing to do with the case, but it had to do with politics. And do you notice the timing? The timing was perfect. This case was dead. It was dropped by every agency, every governmental board. It was dropped by the highly respected Southern District. They said, no, there's no case here. It was dropped by federal election, and that's what it's about. This is about a federal election, not a state election. You're not even allowed to look at it. They took the state and the city and they went into a federal election. They're not allowed. The people from federal election, Southern District, and Washington dropped the case. Everybody dropped the case. There was no case. Cy Vance dropped the case. And when Bragg came in, he said, this is the most ridiculous case I've ever seen. And who would have a certain person, again, gag order, who would have a certain person like this ever testify? He said, this is essentially one of the worst people I've ever seen, ever, to testify. He said, the craziest case I've ever seen, this is Bragg. Then when I announced I was running for president, a long time later, they decided to revive this case. And they got a judge, Judge Marchand, who was responsible for another case that was also brought. It destroyed the life of a very good man, by the way. Destroyed the life of a very good man who went to prison once, and then they just put him in prison again because they said he lied. He didn't lie. I looked at the statements he made. In fact, he didn't remember something, and they put him in jail again. They've destroyed him. With me for many years, he was an honorable person. He was an honest man. And if you look at what he did, supposedly, it never happened. There's never been anything like this. Over the education of his grandchildren. Over, he didn't report that he had a car or 2 cars on his income. I don't know. I wonder how many people here have cars. I wonder how many people said, oh, gee, I have a car that's worth X dollars. How do you even figure it? And I guess you do have to report it, but I would say probably almost nobody does. Nobody even thinks about it. They put this man, they destroyed this man, but they put him in jail again because they didn't want him to testify. They didn't want him to testify.
Well, I'll be
That's
right
why he
back,
went to
Chad. I gotta
jail.
do something. I'm gonna
Put him
get
in
my
jail
charger
twice.
for my phone.
He's
I'll be
77 years
right
old.
back.
Now, normally I'd say that's an old guy, but I don't feel 77. Nobody ever says that about me. I'd like them to say, gee, we have to have a little sorrow for this man, because they just don't say that about me, but maybe I'm better off that way. I think I'm probably better off that way. But they put him in jail twice. And you have to see what they put him in jail. And he was threatened by the judge. This man was told, you're going to get 15 years in jail if you don't give up Trump. And he was told that. You're going to get 15 years in jail. And he made a plea deal because he didn't want to spend the rest of his life. And he was told that viciously. We're living in a fascist state. He was told that viciously. So you can go to jail for 4 months, 5 months, or you can get 15 years in jail. So do a plea. Almost who wouldn't do that plea? Everyone does those pleas.
All right, I'm
It's
back.
a horrible thing. There's a whole group of lawyers that fight that. It's so unfair. It's so unfair. But they destroyed his life. So many other things. You look at Southern District didn't want to bring the case.
I swear, man, this damn
Nobody
YouTube
wanted to
stream
bring
thing is
the
not
case.
doing well, man. I don't know
And
what
then
is
you know who
going
didn't want to
on.
bring the case most of all is Bragg. Bragg didn't want to bring it. But then he brought it. And they tried to make it a different case. They didn't say legal expense equal legal expense. Again, if I wrote down and paid a lawyer, and by the way, this was a highly qualified lawyer. Now, I'm not allowed to use his name because of the gag order. But you know, he's a sleazebag. Everybody knows that. Took me a while to find out. But he was effective. He did work. But he wasn't a fixer. He was a lawyer. You know, they like to use the word fixer. He wasn't a fixer. He was a lawyer. At the time, he was a fully accredited lawyer. Now, he got into trouble not because of me. He got into trouble because he made outside deals and he had something to do with taxi cabs and medallions and he borrowed money. And that's why he went. And then he pled to three election violations. And as soon as I saw that, I said, I wonder why he did that. He pled. He took a deal. Now, he took a deal because he wanted to get off. In other words, I'll take a plea deal and I want to get off. And he wanted to make a deal with the Southern District. And they wrote the worst report I think I've ever seen on any human being, other than the report that was written on James Comey by the Inspector General, a very great Inspector General, actually, wrote a report that was so bad. This one was possibly worse. The Southern District, the judge didn't let us use it. He said, it's hearsay. I said, it's not hearsay. Wouldn't let us use it. This is about the man. But he got in trouble for a very simple reason, because he was involved with borrowing a lot of money, and he did something with the banks. I don't know if it's defrauded the banks, but something happened. You guys know what it is. And then in addition to that, he gave up on three things where he wasn't guilty. In fact, they were going to testify in that. The head of the FEC, the Brad Smith, the election expert, #1 rated in the country, who was going to testify. He took a plea on three things. He just added them in because that gave him more bargaining power with respect to me. But the three things that he pled on, having to do with the election and having to do essentially a little bit with me, they weren't crimes. They weren't crimes. Nor is paying money under an NDA. So we have an NDA, non-disclosure agreement. It's a big deal, a non-disclosure agreement. Totally honorable, totally good, totally accepted. Everybody has them. Every company has non-disclosure agreements. But the press called it slush fund and all sorts of other things. Hush money, hush money. It's not hush money. It's called the non-disclosure agreement. And most of the people in this room have a non-disclosure agreement with their company. It's a disgrace. So it's not hush money. It's a non-disclosure agreement, totally legal, totally common. Everyone has it. And what happened is he signed a non-disclosure agreement with this person, I guess other people, but it's totally honest. You're allowed to make the payment. You don't have to make it, and you can make it any way you want. It's a non-disclosure agreement. And he signed that. And there was nothing wrong with signing it. And this should have been a non-case. And everybody said it was a non-case, including Bragg. Bragg said, until I ran for office. And then they saw the polls. I was leading the Republicans. I was leading the Democrats. I was leading everybody.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, they brought it back.
Well, I got 2 viewers right now
it's a very sad
on
thing that's
Kick.
happening in our country.
See, they enjoying
And
it.
it's a thing that I'm
And
honored.
I got
in a way.
one viewer right
It's
now.
not that it's pleasant. It's very bad
Rumble.
for family.
You know,
It's very bad for friends and businesses.
Kick
But I'm
and
honored to be
Rumble. I gotta
involved
get
in
the
it because
channel to
somebody
grow.
has to
I gotta
do
get
it,
him to
and
go
I might as well
growing.
keep going and be the one. But I'm very
Come on,
honored to be
YouTube,
involved
what
because
is
we're fighting
with
for our
you, man?
Constitution. The money that was paid
And they don't.
was paid
YouTube does
legally.
not
There
like
was
me
nothing
right now.
illegal. In fact, the lawyer in creating the NDA, because at that time he was a fully accredited lawyer. He wasn't a fixer. I never thought of him as a fixer. The media called him a fixer, or the prosecutors called him a fixer. He was a lawyer, and he was fairly good. Later on, I didn't like what he did. I didn't like, for instance, I didn't like that when I became president, he went around and made deals with companies. When I heard that, he was gone. He was gone. And he had payments coming to him, and a lot of this involved things that are very simple. There was nothing wrong. This was standard stuff, all standard stuff. Everything involved was standard. There was no crime here. In fact, I just watched a couple of the reports. You watched Jonathan Turley, Andy McCarthy, Greg Jarrett. You look at all of these people, Mark Levin, all very talented people, great people, many more. And they don't know me, essentially. They don't know me. They're legal scholars and experts. But I look at them. I watched Turley this morning saying, there's no crime here. Everybody says there's no crime here. except for this DA that's got the city out of control with crime. It's absolutely out of control. So we have an NDA that was signed. We have legal expenses. And here's the thing on legal expenses. You have 100 where they say, they do a charge. I just recorded this out. Falsification of business records in the first degree. It sounds so bad. I said, wow. And even my own lawyers, I get very upset with them because they don't say what it is. They say, well, falsification of legal records is only a felony. Well, that's a lot. It's only they say a misdemeanor. But they try and bring it up to a felony if there's 2 crimes. They have all these different things. The other thing is they missed the statute of limitations by a lot. Because this was very old. They could have brought this 7 years ago instead of bringing it right in the middle of the election. So they missed the statute of limitations. They did everything. Now let me give you the good news. The good news is, last night, we just got a report this morning, in the history of politics, I believe, maybe I'm wrong, somebody will find that I'm wrong, maybe, but I don't think so. They raised with small money donors, meaning like $21, $42, $53, $38, a record $39 million in about a 10-hour period.
Yeah, that's right.
I like those people.
I mean, that's our president, bro.
Because so far, I guess it's...
Everybody's
I don't
seeing
know.
what has been happening, bro. Our system has been so corrupted, man. And we got to start fighting it, man.
They were stupid and did things
We
they
got to
shouldn't
start
be doing.
fighting.
They shouldn't have brought this case. They were saying it this morning. This is a case that should not have been brought. I watched Andy McCarthy say this is a case that should not have been brought. And that was
Bullshit.
this morning. But they all say that. Every legal scholar
It's a
has said
bullshit
it. Every legal,
case,
these
man.
are great people that really understand the law. The other thing, a poll just came out. The first poll, I don't know, maybe others will be bad. But a poll just came out a little while ago. The Daily Mail. Does anybody read the Daily Mail? It's very good. They have a good poll. At least I like it today. And the Daily Mail just came out with a poll, and it has Trump up 6 points in the last 12 hours. 6 points. 6 points since this happened. Who thought this could happen? Because the people of our country know it's a hoax. They know it's a hoax. They get it. You know, they're really smart, and it's really something. So we're going to be appealing this scam. We're going to be appealing it on many different things. He wouldn't allow us to have witnesses. He wouldn't allow us to talk. He wouldn't allow us to do anything. The judge was a tyrant. And you got to see that with Bob Costello. A fine man. I've never seen anything like it. And neither has anybody that was in that courthouse where he demanded that the courthouse be cleared. Now, the good news is most of the people in the courthouse were the media. And anybody that was in the media, if you're fair, you'll say, wow. That was anger. That was crazed. He was crazed. And the reason that Bob Costello acted a little bit upset, which I think he has a right to, was that every question he was being asked was being objected to by the other side and sustained by the judge. Sustained, sustained, sustained. I think he did it many times. I don't know what the number, many times. Even I was sitting there saying, and these were basic questions. And I never saw anybody treated that way by a judge. And I've been treated very badly by 2 other judges also, because it's all the same thing. And it all comes out of the White House. Crooked Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of our country. He's the worst president in the history of our country. The most incompetent. He's the dumbest president we've ever had. He's the dumbest president, most incompetent president. And he's the most dishonest president we've ever had. And so many of he's a Manchurian candidate. You take a look at the way he treats China, Russia, so many others. You know, I ended the Russian pipeline. It was dead. He comes in and he approves it. And he gets $3.5 million, meaning $3.5 million is paid to the family, his family, from the mayor of Moscow's wife. And I said, where did that come from? Nobody wants to talk about it. But he's a very big danger to our country. And the only way they think they can...
Yeah, he's going to start a war, man.
Exactly what they're doing
He is
right
starting
now
a
in the courts
World
because they
War
can't
III,
win on the
man.
ballot
That's
box.
what he's doing.
Correct.
So we're going to show them that, oh, we're going to fight. It's actually, I don't know, it's something where I'm wired in such a way that a lot of people would have gone away a long time ago. They would have gone away after impeachment hoax #1. That was a total hoax. I had great support from the Republican Party, though. Then you had impeachment hoax #2. And then they formed the committee. How about they formed the committee of thugs? The J6 committee of thugs. And they took their records and they destroyed all of the records after the committee was abandoned because those records were great for us. Now, can you imagine if Republicans did that? Everybody would have been in jail by now. Think of it, the unselect, I call it the unselect, they call it select committee, I call it the unselect committee of thugs. They meet, it's 100% Democrat and 2 past Republicans that are no longer Republicans, that are no longer in business anymore, thank you. But it was all Democrats and 2 wayward Republicans. Liz Cheney and crying Adam Kinzinger. He cries every time he goes on television. He's the most emotional human being I think I've ever seen. And that was our representatives. These 2 people were our rep. So they had all the stuff that they're leaking. And then when it came time to look at the records, like where the police said and the Capitol Guard said that I supplied, think of it, that I recommended as many soldiers or National Guard as you want. 10,000. If you had 500, you wouldn't have had a problem. There wouldn't have been a J6. But Nancy Pelosi and the group didn't want it anyway. So they have testimony to all of that I did not attack the Secret Service agent in the front of the car. You know, these are strong people. And I supposedly went to the driver and I grabbed him around the neck. And he rebuffed me. And then I went to the other guy, who I think is a black belt in karate. And he's slightly younger than me. Maybe 35 years, 40 years, 50 years.
God, Nero.
And I grabbed him around the neck and said, he's a black belt in karate. They know how to get somebody from around their neck.
Oh, yeah.
And that would be the end of
This
it.
guy, I love him, though.
Actually, I had a friend that said, you shouldn't dispute that. That makes you look like the toughest cookie we've ever seen. You should have let that go on.
There you
The
go,
fact is,
man.
it never happened. It was all made up. And that was proven to be made up. It proved
I hope
to
to
be a
God
false
they don't
story.
put him in jail,
And
bro.
they
But I just got
deleted
this
and
feeling they're gonna do
destroyed
that, bro.
all of that information. Every
If it ain't
ounce
gonna
of
be
it.
house arrest, bro.
We're dealing with a corrupt government.
If it ain't gonna be house arrest, they're just gonna
Country.
put him in
Our
jail.
elections are corrupt. Our borders are open. Our borders are going to be closed very soon. November 5th is going to be the most important day in the history of our country. Now, when I say that, because my people are always saying, do this, because we're fighting for America, DonaldJTrump.com. I hope everybody watching right now, DonaldJTrump.com, because it really makes a difference. They have a lot of money on the other side. I don't know where they get it. Nobody knows where they get it. But for some reason, they get money. But they're not on the side of our country. In many ways, I think they hate our country. Who on earth
You know,
can want open borders where people are allowed
I had to go to work
board
today, man.
from countries
Part of me
unknown,
wanted to
from
call out,
places unknown,
but I just couldn't, man, because I
from
know that I
languages
need,
that we
I
don't
need,
even-
I need
that
this
we
job
haven't even heard of.
where
We
I
have
work
people
at.
sitting in
So,
schools with languages where
so
very few people have
I
ever even
couldn't,
heard
bro.
of these
As
languages.
much as I wanted
It's
to
not
do
like
it,
Spanish or
because
French
I would have been
or
doing a
Russian.
podcast of this,
Languages unknown.
but I couldn't,
we
bro.
have people coming
I
from
just couldn't. I had to
corners of the
come.
globe, and many of them are not good people. Many terrorists.
it's very hard for me.
record
It
levels of terrorism.
It was tough for me to
Record
do. It
levels
was
of
tough for me to
terrorism
make that decision,
Coming
man.
to our country. Record. They've never seen anything like it. You know, there was a report that in 2019, I don't believe this, by the way, the media gave it, and it was good for me, believe it or not. They said in 2019, there were no terrorists recorded that came into our country. I don't believe that. I don't think that's possible. But they actually, 2019 was a Trump year. I don't believe that that could be possible. But they said no terrorists came into our country. So let's say it was close. Let's say it was close. But now record levels of terrorists, record levels, the highest level we've ever seen of terrorists are pouring into our country. You have China with just in the last few months, 29,000 people came in, and I looked at them on a line, and they look like perfect soldiers. They're almost all male, from 19 to 25. It looks like a recruiting exercise. They have beautiful tents. They have propane stoves. They have cell phones, the best you can buy. I said, what's going on? It looks like they're building an army right in our country. Now, I don't think that would happen, right? We're losing our country. And I really think that this is an event, what took place yesterday with this judge. Look, we have conflicted, but he's a crooked judge. And you'll understand that.
What I'm
And
probably
I
gonna
say
do
that
is I'm probably gonna
knowing this very
make this as part
dangerous for me
one,
to say that, and I don't mind.
and then when I wake up
Because I'm
tomorrow,
willing
when
to
I wake
do
up in the morning,
whatever I have
I'm
to
gonna do
to
part
save
2
our
of
country
this.
and to save our
So-
Constitution. I don't mind.
because it is late.
So
Because there is one that I want to
so we
show
will continue the fight.
when I wake up in the morning.
Make America great
So-
again. Very simple. When people fight MAGA, they say, we're going to fight. I watch Biden. We're going to fight MAGA. We're going to stop MAGA. It's make America great again. That's all it is. MAGA. Make America great again. Our country's in serious trouble. We owe $36 trillion. We were energy independent for the first time ever. And now we're begging Venezuela for oil. One statistic you have to hear. Venezuela was crime-ridden. Caracas, the cities, crime-ridden. 2 years ago, 3 years ago. They just reported a 72% drop in crime in the last year. Because all of their criminals, most of them, and the rest are coming in now, the ones that didn't come in Venezuela, their prisons have been emptied into the United States. Their criminals and drug dealers have been taken out of the cities and brought into the United States. And that's true with many other countries. The Congo has just released a lot of people from jail. Congo, Africa, just released a lot of people from their prisons and jails and brought them into the United States of America. This is what's happening to our country. And it's not sustainable by anyone. Little things like our kids can't have a Little League game anymore because you have tents and you have migrants living on the fields. That's the least of it.
Yeah, it is sad, bro.
People are taking over our luxury hotels, migrants, and yet our veterans, our great veterans, are living on the streets like dogs. They're living on the streets. But migrants are living in luxury hotels in cities all over our country, run by Democrats. So it's my honor to be doing this. It really is. It's a very unpleasant thing, to be honest. But it's a great, great honor. We're gonna do what I have to do. I'm gonna do it, and the support has been. That's why I mentioned the number of $39 million. That's why I mentioned we're up 6 points. And we went up a lot over the last month because everybody saw it was a rigged deal. It was a rigged trial. But we're going to make America great again. We're going to make it better than ever before. November 5th, remember, November 5th is the most important day in the history of our country. Thank you very much, everybody.
That's it. That's our president, bro. And shouting out to DA Cobra, man. Jeremy, thank you. Yeah, man. I mean, this is very sad that what has happened to our president, Bo. All right, let me close this piece off, and let me. All right, I'm gonna show this one real quick. I'm gonna show you this other piece that I found this morning when I was coming to work, and this is from This is from yesterday in the morning when I was coming to work, and I heard of this. So let's hear this.
Let's bring in House Speaker Mike Johnson. He joins us right now with reaction. Mr. Speaker, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
We were just talking about how ever since the verdict, a lot of money has been coming into the Trump campaign, and I was just reading in Punchbowl that the National Republican Congressional Committee, you guys raised $300,000 last night, which eclipses only the day you were elected Speaker, and you raised $175,000. So obviously,
Lower this.
Angry voters are motivated.
Yeah, I just had to lower that a little bit.
They are, and there's good reason to be
Wait.
motivated, of course. I mean, this
this
entire
is
thing
good
is
enough.
absurd. I'm a lawyer. I was a litigator for 20 years. I was in court with President Trump a few weeks ago to see this for myself. What happened there was outrageous, and you're right. The American
Oh,
people
shoot,
see
wait
it.
a minute.
This
Oops,
is
my
a
bad.
purely political
Hold on a
exercise,
minute.
not a legal
Hold
one,
on
and
a
everybody
minute.
knows
Hold
that.
on. My bad. I screwed that up. Let me see. Hold on one second. I got an idea. All right, hold on 1 second. There we go. Oops. Yeah. Sorry about that, guys. Kind of messed up. I should have realized that. All right,
They
here we go.
know intuitively that it's wrong, and the people are outraged. I'm in one of those swing states today. I'm in Ohio and Michigan today. I'll be in Illinois tomorrow. I've been in, by the end of this week, we'll have been in 115 cities in 29 states. And I'm telling you guys, something is happening out there. People see what is going on. They see that the Democrats are so desperate because President Trump is crushing Joe Biden in the polls. They see the Democrat Party and the left so desperate to stop him that they'll risk the destruction of our entire legal system to do it. And that is not hyperbole. That's what's going on here. We broke records on our fundraising platforms last night. We'll continue to do that. We even set up a new website. Go to supportbjt.com, because that's how us in Congress, members in Congress, are going to help stand with him and defend this and make sure the right verdict is rendered November 5th.
So-
That's the American people's verdict.
So, Mr. Speaker, if I could get you to put your legal hat back on, not as Speaker, but how does this play out? I mean, you got the former president. He's going to appeal this. Do you think that this is going to happen before the election? Most analysts say it's not. Do you think that the Supreme Court has a duty to step in, since this will impact, the election? I know we want to act like he's just a normal guy, but he's a leading presidential candidate. The voters should know what's going to happen here. So what do you see playing out in the legal system?
Well, there's a lot of developments yet to come, but I do believe the Supreme Court should step in. Obviously, this is totally unprecedented, and it's dangerous to our system. I mean, we've all discussed this before, and you all talk about it all the time. This is diminishing the American people's faith in our system of justice itself. And to maintain a republic, you have to have that. People have to believe that justice is fair, that there's equal justice under law. They don't see that right now. And I think that the justices on the court, I know many of them personally, I think they're deeply concerned about that as we are. So I think they'll set this straight, but it's going to take a while. You're right. The process takes a while to play out. The Democrats know that, of course, and they're dragging it out. That was the whole objective. They want to try to bankrupt Donald Trump. They want to diminish his credibility and go after his character. They wanted to keep him off the campaign trail, which they were successful in doing for many weeks. And now that they want to call him the convicted felon. This will be overturned, guys. There's no question.
Yeah, but what have you been doing, Mike? Yeah, you went to court to support him and everything. But during this whole time, what have you been doing? I'll tell you what you've been doing, Mike. You have been fucking goddamn giving money to other countries instead of helping us. That's what you've been doing. What you should have been doing was forgetting about giving support to other countries, but helping others. Helping our country. Helping Donald Trump. Tell the Democratic Party to stop doing what they're doing. What you need to do right now Mike, you need to fucking talk to the Supreme Court and get them to work on fixing this problem. That's what you gotta fucking do, Mike. This is the problem with the Republican Party, bro. All they fucking do in the Republican Party is talk. They talk and talk and talk, but they don't punch. They don't fight back. They're playing softball with these Democrats. Don't play softball. Play hard. It's time to play rough with these people. Take off the gloves and start punching. That's what they need to start doing. That's why, man. I mean, you guys gotta start. You Republican people, man. The Republican Party needs to start fighting back, bro. Fight back, dude. Stop supporting Ukraine. Stop supporting Iran. Stop. Just stop. Start helping this country. Help Donald Trump become president. You know that Joe Biden is doing what he's doing damage to this country. Start voting for Trump, man. That's all I gotta say, dude. You guys keep fucking up, man.
Question about it. It's just going to take some time to do it.
Right. Go ahead.
Thanks, Brian. In the meantime, the sentencing date is July 11th. That's after the first debate. So the two candidates will debate. Then there's going to be the sentencing date. How's that going to affect the RNC? What if has home confinement? He can't go? Does the convention still happen? Does he zoom in on the screen? How does he campaign? If he goes to prison, what does that look like? Will he be in prison with Secret Service on Election Day?
We're in uncharted waters, right? Obviously, there's no prohibition against him being elected president, even if he's confined somewhere. But I certainly hope that doesn't happen. You know, there's lots of discussion. We talked about it all last night. There'll be more discussion today about how we might adjust things in the schedule and all of that. But I'm going to tell you what will happen. I predict this will increase turnout on our side. He will win decisively. He will become the next president. He was already, as I said, crushing Joe Biden in the polls. I think as this plays out and people get more and more frustrated about it, I think it will help us, and that huge enthusiasm gap that already existed between the Trump and Biden campaigns will be even wider. People now see Donald Trump as a symbol of something. He's more than just an individual. He's a symbol of fighting back against this government corruption, the deep state, the bureaucracy, and all the rest. And we need his leadership in the White House now more than ever.
I mean, just seeing for the last 5-6 weeks, everything just stopped. Everyone's watching. It becomes the #1 story in big and small towns across the country. You wonder, the other 3 cases, the other 3 indictments, will they see the light of day? No one can say for sure, but we expect at any time the Supreme Court to rule on immunity. You have such a rich legal background. What should we all be looking for there? I know what you're hoping for. What are some of the rulings they could have?
Well, look, I do believe that the court needs to address that clearly. We have to set a standard here.
Yeah, this was before. This news was before.
Commander in chief. I mean, that's always been part of our legal
before
tradition,
Trump
and
speaking
it makes
out.
good sense. You can't have somebody sitting in the Oval Office worried about some rogue prosecutor somewhere, some Soros-funded DA or some lawyer that's going to come after them for their decisions. And so that principle needs to be made concrete. It needs to be expanded. I think this court will do the right thing because they see the abuse of the system right now. And that's the greatest peril here of all at the end of the day. This transcends even Donald Trump. It's about whether or not the people believe in our institutions, our system of justice. There's nothing larger than that in our system.
Right. We were talking to Mark Penn, the very famous pollster, a little while ago, Mr. Speaker, about how this is going to boomerang on the Democrats. But nonetheless, even though it looks like it's going to boomerang and come back to haunt them, every day, every minute they can, the campaign is going to refer to him as Donald Trump, convicted felon, right up until it's overturned on appeal, if it is.
Yeah, and they'll still say that after the appeal, I'm sure. That's what was the whole objective of this thing. But I'm telling you that the people see right through it. I've been all across the country, north, south, east, west. Doesn't matter whether I'm in a blue state or a red state. People are disgusted by this. They see exactly what's happening. Old charges, a tainted judge. I mean, think of it. In the last couple of weeks, they've been apoplectic. They want Justice Alito to be recused from, future cases and proceedings because his wife flew a flag at their house. This judge on this case in Manhattan was an open Biden supporter, an open, activist, a political activist, and no one cared about that. So the
Mr.
double
Speaker.
standard is clear. Everybody sees it.
I was watching Alina last night, one of the attorneys for Donald Trump, and she said when the verdict was read, he had to put his hand over his mouth, and she said she suspects it's to hide a smile. What's your reaction?
I wouldn't doubt it. Look, I told you I was there on the ground. I saw that Banana Republic trial going on. These are the things that you expect in third world countries, not in the United States. That should never have happened. That judge should never have presided.
So Andrew Weissman, who ran the Mueller probe, said he has a man crush on the judge. And he thinks that he also recommends that the president get prison because of his violations and the way he talked about the judge. Your thoughts?
It's incredible. The gag order, all of it was, in my view, an unconstitutional restriction on his free speech. I mean, he's the nominee, the Republican nominee, one of the major political parties in the country, running for president. You cannot do to him what they did. It shouldn't have been allowed. None of this should have gone forward, and I think the people see that. They see right through it.
Can I ask one more question? Sorry, you go ahead.
No,
Lawrence.
no,
I've
go
asked
for it.
two
No,
already.
go ahead.
I just want to know from a faith perspective, Speaker Johnson, what can you tell our country who's disappointed in this ruling and worried about the future?
Look, I was with some big crowds here in three different cities yesterday in Ohio, and I told them all the same thing. Keep the faith. Look, I'm absolutely convinced. Reagan used to remind us, we are the last best hope of man on the earth. He was quoting Lincoln in that regard. We have the best system, and even though people try to corrupt it, it is worth preserving. And I genuinely believe, Ainsley, that God's going to allow us another chance. We're going to be able to fix this. November 5th cannot get here soon enough, but I'm very bullish on that election cycle. I think the people are going to return us to common sense by putting us back in authority.
We'll finally find out if God's a Democrat or Republican.
This is true.
So wrong.
I heard independent.
So wrong.
We're going to find out.
We still have a
I don't
process.
think he cares
but
about the party, but he does care about the principle.
That's
He does
right.
care about the
All right.
principle.
Mr. Speaker, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, that's it, bro. I mean, yeah, like I said, dude, this is becoming more and more chaotic, bro. But it's like I said before, man. I mean, brother, I gotta take this part off. Okay, you know what? We gotta get on Twitter. All right. There we go. Thank you. All right, so that's the thing, man. I mean, it's like I said before. The Republican Party are just talking. This is what they're doing the whole time. They talk, they talk, they talk, they talk, they talk. But they don't strike. They don't put up the fist. They don't throw punches. All they do is talk. If they start throwing punches at the Democratic Party and help Trump, this wouldn't have happened to him. Plain simple. All right, I'm gonna call it a night. I'm gonna edit this one and make it as part 1. Tomorrow when I wake up, I will make this part 2. All right, and I will talk about what I've been having on Twitter and everything. And let me tell you, there's a lot of shit that I've picked up, and good and bad. And I hope to God things will go right. And just a reminder, I will be doing a live stream on the debate between Joe Biden and President Trump. But I swear, man, it's going to piss me off that if Joe Biden tries to smirk with Trump, saying, oh, well, at least I'm not a convicted felon. Oh, man, it's going to be hell. There will be hell to pay. Guarantee that, bro. So, I hope you liked the video. Smack that like button. Post a comment below. Tell me what your thoughts on this when you guys wake up and look at this video. Share this video. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button for me. It'll mean a lot to my channel. And I hope to see you guys in the morning. All right. Good night, everyone.